Ladies and gentlemen, it is the much requested, the much anticipated Philadelphia Eagles offseason episode of Run It Back Philly. I've been putting off a lot of things as far as talking about the Eagles because I've been sucked in, to the Philadelphia 76ers season. But there's a lot of things I want to talk about and give my opinion on when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles and what they've been doing this offseason. So we're going to break down everything they've done so far and whether or not I think they are headed in the right direction. This episode of Run It Back Philly is brought to you by the Teespring store. Click the link in the description, get all the Run It Back merch to support the channel, and use the code RUNMY20 for 20% off. Also, buymeacoffee.com/runitback. I give you Philadelphia sports talk almost every day. If you enjoy this sports talk and would like to show your appreciation, you can do so by buying me coffee. buymeacoffee.com/runitback. Run It Back Nation, what is good? Please hit the subscribe button if you're brand new. 50% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed. I think that's very rude. All I want is a subscription. Please hit the little red button right under the video. Go ahead and do that. Run It Back Nation, let's get as many likes on the video as possible. 5 seconds to hit the like button. And hit the dislike button if you're a fraud. All right, so like I said, I've been sucked into the Philadelphia 76ers season and haven't been speaking on the Philadelphia Eagles very much since my last and final rant of the season. And then I did a little thing after Doug Pederson got fired about how I believe he got fired on purpose. But since then, a lot of things have been happening, and I want to give my opinion on it. And the first question we're going to answer here is, do I think the Philadelphia Eagles are having a successful offseason? And the answer to that is yes. Because first of all, moving on from Doug Pederson and the downward spiral that was taking place is a success in its own right. Okay, but now we got to look at Jeffrey Lurie's actual decisions and whether or not I think we're moving in the right direction, because we didn't have faith in Jeffrey Lurie. A lot of us did not have very much faith that the owner of this team was going to look at the situation and look at what needed to be done and make the right decisions. But I must say, he has impressed me to an extent. The Howie Roseman surviving whatever happens thing is what it is. Howie Roseman is never going to go anywhere. We just have to accept it. It's kind of like Ben Simmons never shooting a jump shot. We can't just sit here and keep yelling about it. It's not going to happen. So the Fire Howie t-shirts, all that stuff, I mean, come on, man. He's not going to get fired. He's going to be here forever. Whether or not I think he should have control of drafting this offseason, I'll probably make another video on that. But we're going to talk about all of the decisions that Lurie made as far as the coaching staff goes and whether or not I think that's been successful and been a step in the right direction. So what Jeffrey Lurie finally did here is he finally did what the Sixers did, what the Philadelphia 76ers ownership group did. He finally said, listen, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. I have none. It's time for me to take a step back, get my hands out of the fire, and hire people that know what's going on, right? Say you purchase a restaurant, and you never worked in a restaurant before. You don't know how to bartend. You don't know how to wait tables. You don't know how to cook a damn quesadilla. You know what I mean? But you're in there the first couple years it's open with your hands in everything, trying to make decisions, and your sales are going, me, because you're just be the owner, take a step back, and hire a damn manager with some experience. And hire some damn bartenders and servers with experience. Hire people that know what they're doing so you can just sit back on a beach somewhere and count your money. Right? That's what Jeffrey Lurie finally did. Take a step back and hire people that know what they're doing. Now, as far as firing Doug Pederson, it had to be done because, first of all, you had to choose between Carson Wentz and Doug Pederson. It was clear that Carson Wentz was upset with the way things were going. It was clear that Carson Wentz planned on asking for a trade, and At the end of the day, Jeffrey Lurie is a businessman. At the end of the day, Jeffrey Lurie is a billionaire. And one thing billionaires do not do to themselves is cost themselves money. Rich people don't cost themselves money. Rich people only spend money when it's going to make them a profit. That's why they're rich. Their money never goes down. It only keeps going up. Jeffrey Lurie was not about to move on from a 26-year-old, 27-year-old quarterback who he has a $128 million contract in, that hasn't even started yet. I'm pretty sure that's a thing, right? You can let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Carson Wentz's extension doesn't even start until this season coming up. So Jeffrey Lurie just wasn't going to do that. And Doug Pederson showed a level of arrogance and a level of stubbornness that he was unwilling to change anything because he just thought, I'm the Super Bowl winning coach. I can get a job anywhere. I don't need this. I don't need to be told what to do. And he presented Press Taylor as the offensive coordinator, and Jeffrey Lurie said, no, because Jeffrey Lurie got it in his mind that it's time to clean house. This is one of the reasons Deuce Staley was not promoted. And I'll talk about Deuce Staley in a minute, but Jeffrey Lurie said, bro, I'm cleaning house, and I'm not promoting within. I'm getting people from outside the organization who have shown positive signs in conjunction with what my main objective is. And what his main objective is fixing Carson Wentz. And every single hire that he's made so far, you can tell his main objective is fixing Carson Wentz. So he chose Wentz over Doug Pederson, flat out, period. He said, I'm taking the money. I'm not taking the $39 million cap hit or whatever it would be to trade Carson Wentz. I'm putting all my eggs in the basket of fixing Carson Wentz, and I'm hiring people that I believe have the ability to do so. Doug Pederson and Press Taylor clearly did not have the ability to do so. He could have chose to keep Doug Pederson and roll with Jalen Hurts, but at the end of the day, like I said, he's not going to cost himself $39 million, and Carson Wentz wasn't going to be a backup. He was going to ask for a trade. So he sided with Carson Wentz over Doug Pederson. And every hire that he's made so far has told me that his main interest here is fixing Carson Wentz. And he even said that flat out in the press conference. He said, my main objective here is getting Carson Wentz back to MVP form. And we all know that can happen. You don't just lose all your talent at 27 years old. Carson Wentz can get back there. A lot of things need to happen for that to happen. Now, of course, article coming out saying, all those articles that came out saying Wentz is hard to handle, Carson Wentz is not easily coachable, yada, yada, yada. I believe that is why Jeffrey Lurie targeted Frank Reich's coaching staff. Now, you couldn't get Frank Reich. Here's the thing. Frank Reich seemed to be the coach that could handle Carson Wentz, right? Carson Wentz is arrogant. He's uncoachable. He's very stubborn in his ways. He wants to have control of the offense, yada, yada, yada. Doug Pederson didn't want to give him that the last couple years, and everything trended downward because when Doug Pederson was in charge of the offense, the play calling and all of these things didn't make any damn sense at all. But Frank Reich welcomed Carson Wentz's personality. He welcomed the fact that Carson Wentz was a strong-minded individual who thought he knew what needed to be done on the field. And Frank Reich set up a system and gave him complete control of it, a Peyton Manning-esque system where he could get to the line and call one of several plays that fit what they were trying to do at the time. He put everything, all the decision-making in Carson Wentz's hands at the line of scrimmage, and it was successful, and he had Carson Wentz at 11-2 at an MVP level. It was very successful. Frank Reich wins the Super Bowl. Frank Reich leaves. Doug Pederson's now in charge without an offensive coordinator, and everything goes downhill. It's not rocket science to me. But that's why you targeted Frank Reich's coaching staff, because in the grand scheme of things, like in hindsight, you say, wow, I really wish we would have fired Doug Pederson after the Super Bowl and promoted Frank Reich, but you couldn't fire the head coach after winning a Super Bowl, so this is what happened. So now you're like, I wish we had Frank Reich back. You can't get him back. This is the best you can do. The best you can do is go steal Frank Reich's offensive coordinator. Go steal Frank Reich's defensive coordinator. Offensive quarterback coach. I don't remember. I got it all written down here, so we're going to go over it. Yeah, so Doug Pederson's gone, Press Taylor's gone, Deuce Staley's gone, Jim Shorts is gone. Everybody's gone, and there's a whole new staff in here because it was time. It was time to do that. The only way to get Carson Wentz back and to get this team back is to change the staff entirely and go with a completely new energy and a new thought process. So, how do I feel about Nick Sirianni? The Eagles hired Nick Sirianni. How do I feel about him? He was Frank Reich's offensive coordinator, and he was a former quarterback coach. And I think, first of all, that's a move in the right direction. You want somebody that's focused on the quarterback position. That's the main focus here, right? Not somebody like Doug Pederson, who seemingly didn't give a damn about the quarterback and was going to run his offense the way he wanted to run it no matter who was behind center, and then he throws in a rookie who he thought was going to save the day, runs the offense the exact same way. We all predicted nothing was going to change. He was going to get sacked. Even Jalen Hurts inside the 20-yard line, Doug Pederson was calling straight drops in the pocket and wouldn't roll him out of the pocket. It's ridiculous the way this guy was calling plays. So you hire somebody who has had success coaching quarterbacks and has had success with the Indianapolis Colts offense for a couple of years. That's what you want, right? Somebody's trending down, you get them the hell out. Somebody's trending up, was promoted from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator, was a good offensive coordinator, led an offensive regime with a 17-year veteran who just retired to 11-4 this season, or 11-5 or 12-4, I don't remember, but that's what you do. You move in the right direction that way. So I think Nick Sirianni is a good hire. I don't know much about him. None of us know much about him. You got to give him a chance, right? We gave Doug Pederson a chance. Doug Pederson ended up being good only because Frank Reich was underneath him. But Nick Sirianni, you got to give him a chance. You have to. A reporter said, I read a tweet or an article a while ago that basically said Nick Sirianni's smart and smart enough to have a winning team, but is maybe not smart enough to win a Super Bowl. What does that mean? Doug Pederson's brain is literally a potato, and he won the Super Bowl. Okay? Clearly, it had a lot more to do with the staff underneath of him than his own coaching ability. Because Doug Pederson, once there was no offensive coordinator, can't call plays to save his life. So, I don't know what that means. You can't judge a guy who's smart, but he's not smart enough to win. So, come on, man. Can he fix Carson Wentz? That is the question. Can Nick Sirianni fix Carson Wentz? And I have a screenshot from an ESPN article. I was reading an ESPN article about basically can Nick Sirianni fix Carson Wentz, and I took this screenshot of the article because this is the most important part of it, and I'm going to read it to you. Doug Pederson's offense felt basic and repetitive last season, particularly when Wentz was under center. One of the more head-scratching factoids from a bizarre 2020 season is that the Eagles ran more vertical routes than any team in the NFL, according to ESPN metrics. Now, it just gives me Brett Brown vibes. I could not believe what I was seeing on the TV. Anybody with a brain could figure out, hey, the offensive line is bad. This quarterback's better at throwing on the run. This quarterback's getting killed in the pocket. We should call rollouts and quick pass plays. I mean, seriously, a freaking 10-year-old playing Madden could figure that out. Doug Pederson ran more vertical routes than any team in the NFL, even with the offensive line severely banged up and the wide receivers unable to separate with great consistency. Meanwhile, Nick Sirianni over on the Indianapolis Colts offense, and he was calling plays for the Indianapolis Colts too. So keep that in mind. He wasn't just an offensive coordinator; he was literally in charge of play calling. And him and Frank Reich together created the plays and all of this stuff. But again, you get Frank Reich's understudy. That's the best you can do. But he was calling the plays. The Colts, meanwhile, ranked 24th in vertical routes ran. They had a 17-year-old veteran quarterback who can't move. They said, hey, we got to get the ball out of the pocket very quickly. They used their brains. He had the 24th ranked in vertical routes run. The results were rather predictable. The Eagles allowed the most sacks in the league and had the third most turnovers in the league. The Indianapolis Colts finished in the top 3 in sacks allowed and 15th in turnovers. It's just not rocket science. So Jeffrey Lurie was like, okay, this guy clearly doesn't know what he's doing, and this guy looks like he knows what he's doing. I'm going to go hire this guy. And he's underneath of the guy that was in charge of the offense when Carson Wentz was at an MVP level. I just think he did the right thing. He looked at it the right way, and he made the right decision. And here's a good snapshot of this article. The Colts last year in time to throw rankings, they were third in the league in time to throw, and the Eagles were 30th. And that might have a lot to do with the offensive line also, but the Eagles have a young offensive line. They were tied for second in sacks allowed. The Eagles were dead last. They were tied for third in fewest turnovers. The Philadelphia Eagles were 30th. So listen, you combine the fact that it's Frank Reich's team, and you combine the fact that these stats look so much better than the Doug Pederson run offense, so you go and take Frank Reich's offensive coordinator, who was a big part of that, right? Right. So other than Nick Sirianni, the offensive coordinator that they hired, Shane Stickman, I haven't read a lot about him, but I did find a Bleeding Green Nation, shout out to Bleeding Green Nation. I found a Bleeding Green Nation article right before they hired him as offensive coordinator, and he was the Chargers. All right, well, here's a snapshot of his experience here. Stickman, 35, has experience working with new Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni. The two overlapped on the Chargers from 2014 to 2017. Here's a snapshot of his tenure. He was a Louisville offensive assistant in 2010. I like the fact that he started out running an offense, right? San Diego Chargers defensive assistant, 2011 and 12. Cleveland Browns offensive quality control coach in 2013. I don't know about that so much. How good were the Cleveland Browns in 2013? Probably really bad. San Diego Chargers offensive quality control coach 2014-2015. San Diego Chargers quarterbacks coach in 2016 to 2019. Los Angeles Chargers interim offensive coordinator in 2019. And in 2020, he was the Los Angeles Chargers offensive coordinator. Now, here's the good thing about it. Look at the Chargers quarterback situation. A young quarterback who had possibly the greatest rookie quarterback season in NFL history. And this is a guy who was a quarterback's coach for 3 years and has been an offensive coordinator for 2 seasons. That's exactly what you want. Again, we get an offensive coordinator that's offensive-minded, that's quarterback-centric and focused. And now we get an offensive coordinator. We get a head coach, offensive coordinator that we hired as a head coach. And now we get an offensive coordinator that we hire as an offensive coordinator, I'm sorry if I'm confusing you, that is also offensive-minded and has been a quarterback's coach before and has clearly had success working with quarterbacks. Stickman, who called plays for the Colts, has drawn praise for Justin Herbert's success. The number 6 overall for the Bolts, I'm sorry, Jesus, you're confusing me with the Bolts as in the Chargers, not the Colts. Okay, Stickman, who called plays for the Chargers, has drawn praise for Justin Herbert's success. The number 6 overall pick of the 2020 draft threw for 4,336 yards, 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and a 98.3 passer rating as a 22-year-old rookie. That's pretty good. The 2020 Chargers ranked 15th in overall DVOA and 7th in passing. Hey, that sounds good to me. You know what I'm saying? That sounds good to me. On the downside, Stickman has been criticized for leaning too heavily on the run on early downs. I don't know how good the San Diego Chargers running back situation is, but if you lean too heavily on the run and you got Miles Sanders back there, and hopefully maybe we can add some kind of goal line back, some more of a power back to pair with Miles Sanders. But Doug Pederson abandoned Miles Sanders forever. For the whole season, for basically his whole career so far, he hasn't used Miles Sanders correctly. This guy has been criticized for using the run too much. And he was dealing with a rookie quarterback, so that might be why he did that. Again, rookie quarterback, I should probably run the ball a little more, not put so much pressure on him, right? Carson Wentz, having a bad year, not a lot of time to throw. I should probably run the ball a little more, not put so much pressure on him. Doug Pederson, Nah, not doing that. I'm going to run the ball less. I'm going to throw the ball more, and everything's going to burn down in flames. All right, so we get an offensive coordinator who is offensive minded, has been a quarterback's coach, and has had success coaching quarterbacks, and is particularly Justin Herbert as a rookie. So I'm very happy about that too. And again, these guys, it's not like you hired a Bill Belichick. It's not like you hired a Doc Rivers in the NBA. It's not like you hired it's not like you hired guys that have been coaches for a long time that have a bunch of success and a bunch of experience, and you can say, well, we're going to win with these guys because they've been great, right? You're hiring young guys that are on the come up. You have a 39-year-old head coach now. I don't know how old Stickman is, but he doesn't look that old either. You know what I mean? So you're hiring younger guys that are on the come up, which also says that you want young ambition, young creative minds, that are going to work hard and adapt to things. Doug Pederson didn't adapt to anything. He didn't change anything. He was stubborn as hell. You're hiring younger guys that hopefully have a little bit more motivation to switch things up and adapt when things go south, I guess. Defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, former Colts defensive back and secondary coach, and has had success with the Colts' young secondary. Now, another Colts coach, okay? So we take the whole the Colts' whole coaching staff, tongue twister, but I like the fact that he was a defensive back and secondary coach because the Philadelphia Eagles have had horrendous defensive back play for years under Jim Schwartz, particularly last year, one of the worst in the league. And Jim Schwartz, just like Doug Pederson, was stubborn, chose not to change anything, wanted to do it his way, even if it didn't work, and stepped down, but he was going to get fired anyway. So a defensive back and secondary coach who had success with a young secondary, that's what you got to do. We already have a defensive line, and most of these guys are still in the years of their prime, approaching the end of their prime, but a lot of our defensive linemen are still very, very, very good. The problem, and I like what Jeffrey Lurie did, he looked at the problems. The problem is the linebacker play and the secondary. So he hires a young guy, up and coming, who's had success as a secondary coach. So I'm loving it, man. Everybody's young, everybody's energetic, everybody's hungry for more. Nobody's like, I just won a Super Bowl, I can do whatever I want, don't tell me what to do. They're hungry, they want to prove to people that they can do this job, and I'm feeling great about it. Last thing I want to talk about is Deuce Staley, because, when the coaching thing happened, a lot of people were saying, should Deuce Staley be promoted? Should Deuce Staley be the head coach? And when Deuce Staley didn't get the head coaching job, it was, should Deuce Staley be the offensive coordinator? I'm going to be honest here. I was never a big fan of Deuce Staley's coaching style when it came. He's been in charge of the running back rotations for a couple years, and I was never a fan of it, period. All the way back when LeGarrette Blount wasn't getting the ball in the goal line. Randomly, Wendell Smallwood would be in the game on a 3rd and 1 in an important situation. You know what I mean? I think he's too nice. I think he gives his friends the ball over who should actually have the ball. And when the Eagles traded for Jordan Howard 2 years ago, Miles Sanders was a rookie. We said, hey, we got a 1-2 punch. We got a bang running back core right here, and we're going to use it. They opened the season giving the ball to 36-year-old Darren Sproles coming off of an Achilles tear. You know what I'm saying? They didn't use Jordan Howard for 3 games. There's so many things with that running back rotation that never made sense, and Deuce Staley was in charge of it. So as much as I love Deuce Staley as a historic Philadelphia Eagles player, I am glad he didn't get promoted. And hey, Deuce can go somewhere else, prove himself. Maybe he ends up a head coach somewhere, but I like that Jeffrey Lurie was like, no, we're not promoting from within. We're not doing it. We're not. Everything about this offense was bad, and everybody that was involved in this offense, I'm sorry, you got to go. Now, a lot of people, especially in today's times, were a little bit upset because they're saying that, Deuce should have been hired because it would have been right for diversity. And listen, I'm all for diversity. You guys that know me know that. My child is multiracial. I've always been about diversity my whole life. I don't give a damn what color you are. We're all brothers in this world, brothers and sisters and God's children or what have you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm all for diversity, and I think diversity is great. And I think it would have been great to see a black head coach. I would have liked it. I would have liked to see a black offensive coordinator. I would enjoy diversity just like anybody else. But the main objective here is cleaning house and hiring coaches that can fix Carson Wentz and hiring coaches that their history shows they worked with quarterbacks and had success with young quarterbacks or fixing quarterbacks or offensive-minded coaches that are creative with play. The objective here was finding the best man for the job, not finding a certain skin color. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm really going to say on that topic as far as why people were upset that Deuce Staley didn't get the job. At the end of the day, I just don't think Deuce Staley is that good at what he does. And, you can hate me for that opinion all you want. It is what it is. But I do wish Deuce Staley the best moving forward. I'm going to try moving forward to be more active on the Eagles news and the Eagles topics and the Eagles opinions because, let's be honest, I'm getting sick of yelling about Ben Simmons every day, and I'm sure you guys are getting sick of hearing me yell about Ben Simmons every day. Well, some of you love it, so some of you are sick of it. But, yeah, man, I got to switch it up and do some different things here. So that is it, man. Give me all your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're brand new. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give me a rating and a review. My name is DJ Eastwood. This is Run It Back Philly. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Go Sixers versus the Lakers tonight, man. I might make a preview video about that. We'll see. We'll see how I feel around noonish today. Peace.